Avengers fight.
Well, I think when it comes to horror, which was the whole goal with this movie, to really take it back to the roots of it, just practical is always scarier. When you feel it, you can see that the actor is, first of all, interacting with the creature. And when you have a face hugger in someone's face, you know, it gotta be real. When you have one jumping out of the water, it gotta be real. So, and when it comes to the Xenomorph, when you have those face-to-face encounters, you know, there's just nothing beats the practical. It's really, really hard to do. And but everybody involved in the movie went above and beyond to really make sure we did the hard way for the audience, right?
As far as this movie appealing to the original fan base, I think that they'll really appreciate how much was done practically in camera. It's so easy to throw everything to visual effects, but it really adds something for the cast and for everyone who's working on it when there's actually face huggers or actually xenomorphs or chest bursters, when those things are actually happening in front of you or to you. And I think that the audience can really feel that. I think that it enhances the performance from the cast when they have a real thing flying at their face or they have a real thing going into their mouth. It gives a lot more. We still rely on visual effects because they can do, you know, they can make 100 face huggers run down a hallway. But I think it's a really great marriage of visual effects and practical effects coming together.
He wanted to give the feel that actually we made and prep and shot the movie in the 80s, as if we were in the 80s. So when we think about science fiction right now, it's a completely different process than what science fiction was if you were living in the 80s. So I think that was his way of explaining me that we needed to put to the side our concepts about what Alien, the last few Alien movies were about, and what sci-fi is to us right now in modern times, but just to go back in time and just think of what clothing would have been you know, as if I was living in the 80s. So that was the first concept that was, you know, very important for me.
It really feels like we've traveled through time, and I'm getting to experience like the first time being on a movie set where they use pretty much all practical effects, but we get all the perks of a modern day filming experience, right? Because back then they didn't have that kind of a budget. Back then they didn't have like the tools and techniques that we have now, because we've adapted to, you know, fast-paced kind of work environment. We have less time to film a movie. Even though it is Disney, it still like feels like an indie because of all of the practical effects that are involved. I'm also getting to learn so much from everyone, the VFX team. I'm getting to learn a lot from props. I'm getting to learn a lot from costumes, because they're all having to work in these new spaces where they're being heavily relied upon for these huge, huge scenes. And I love that. I wish we could do more of that. It makes me even more excited to go to work in the morning, because I'm like, I wonder how they're gonna do this today. And that's just super fun.
So we grounded ourselves in real, and then we are trying to use VFX to supplement, help, embellish. But we've just been pushing and pushing and pushing to have it all in camera. So less blue, less green, and just trying to it's not that it's a cheat, but just not trying to go there as quick and be able to, you know, figure out different ways of shooting, in order to have that tangible and the real and, you know, that whole thing throughout the whole picture.
There's a lot of body fluids in these effects, and we use a base that is a methicel. It's called methyl cellulose. It's a starch product, and you mix it with hot water and you can thicken it, and it's a clear slime. So that becomes the base for all of the stuff to put on the creature that makes it look very shiny and wet. You can make it any viscosity you want. And then you also use that base to create your bloods. And the bloods then you use various tints, food color tints and so on to create the blood. And then we have a secret ingredient, which is called Ultra Slime. And that is a product that is made by the Ultra Slime Company, I think it's called. It's got an additive in it. It's your basic slime, but it's got an additive that is very stringy and webby. And that goes back to Aliens. And it's kind of become part of the signature trait of these creatures, that they have very drippy, stringy slime.
Well, the notes came from Fede that he wanted the surfaces very rough, very, very sharp. So I think that one of the main differences is the surface of the one that we've made is very dangerous and has a lot of sharp pieces to it. So he wanted it to feel as if a character ran their hand against it, much like a shark's skin, they would be cut. And we also wanted to employ a lot of translucent areas in the body, and you have something to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, the translucent dome with there's kind of like a vertebrae understructure. What we've seen when we're filming is like really remarkable, just to see all that structure in there and the play of light passing through it and the shadow work that they've been backlighting the character, and with the new anatomy, the kind of more spindly anatomy, all that together has like really, I think, made a more unusual looking xenomorph.
And in the arms and in the legs.
As Shane was mentioning, Shane actually really went after having some translucent panels in the arms and legs. So with certain situations, you can see kind of a light emanating through the legs and arms, and it helps to give it that kind of lattice work feel that our Xenos have, because they have very slender waists and long limbs, and they just look like more insect-like and kind of like they'd be very quick and fast. And
I think one of the interesting things as well, if I may jump in, is that these aren't the same. They're engineered actually different than they were before. So there's actually a lore to why they look different. So it's not, we didn't just change the design just to change it.
It's a story point.
It's a story point. So that adds to the elements of why there is such different looks to it.
Okay, say that. BTS.
Oh gosh, cut that out. I'm not joking. Cut that out.
Yeah, couldn't have asked for better cast, honestly. I mean, they're all amazing. They truly care, and they work so hard every day. But with Cailee Spaeny, obviously, I almost wrote the movie for her. I mean, I met her a few years ago. I saw her work, and I was constantly gravitating towards her work, accidentally watching things that she was in it, and then I watched something else I liked, and there she was. So when I started to write the movie, I usually do a fantasy casting, like I just pick up random photos of sometimes actors, of people that not even actors, or people that are actors that have been dead for 20 years. And I put them on the board, on the wall, so I have a face to connect with the character I'm writing. And the first photo that went up at the board was Cailee's photo. I was like, I knew that was Rain, that was going to be the character. And then thank God, by the time I had a script and I showed it to her, she wanted to do it. So it's been truly amazing to see her becoming the character and to work with her every day. She's really one of the best actors out there. She cares so much, and she's just so good at what she does. So it is a privilege to see her work every day.
Are we ready?
Ready and action.
Yeah, Fede's been very collaborative, and he's been someone who I always feel like I can go and bounce off of when it comes to these characters and the story. And I don't know if I've met anyone in my life who understands this franchise better than him. I mean, he knows frame by frame of every single Alien movie that has ever been made. So to have that deep well of knowledge, you can sort of lean on it. And then also from his other films, you see so well that he has a real understanding of the psychology of fear and where it comes from in us, and something that I don't really want to know, but I really do trust him when it comes to those things. He is very passionate about this, and he, like a lot of us, like I said, is just a real film nerd. You know, it's real love of cinema, and specifically this franchise and horror in general. He just has a real understanding of, and I think you can relax that when you're on a set and you're working on this film, because you know it's going to be properly scary.
And action!
When I first stepped onto set, it was kind of spooky for me to watch what David was doing with Andy, because it's so different from him in real life. I literally cannot take my eyes off of him. And even when he's not in my line of sight, I just listening so intensely to what he's saying, as Andy, of course. And yeah, it's so freaky how he's able to lean into the kind of robotic AI aspects of that character.
Hey, Andy!
I'm fucking dying again.
Why did the blind miner fall down the well?
We have a really amazing cast. It's a privilege to be part of this cast. You know, Cailee Spaeny, who plays my sister Rain, is just from the second we met, we just knew we'd get along, and we did. And not only do you have a sense of duty to like bring these characters to life and find the reality and the history, which we managed to like dig and excavate and find, but also she has like a real playfulness to her, which I love. And then you got like Spike, and you got Archie, and you got Isabela, and you got Aileen. There's 6 of us really. Not to mention the special guests that we get dotted around. But us as a cast, we've just bonded as a group, and I think we needed to go on this journey and make it feel authentic. We had to be close, which makes room for us to like break that dynamic on screen.
Horror normally takes place in like really sort of small, compact places, and that does create fear, you know, like the claustrophobia and just being in like tight spaces. But with this film, it feels like a horror maze as the characters kind of navigate their way through this station, this space station, which is huge. They get out of like one place, and then they're like into a place that's even worse, kind of like out the frying pan and into the fire. It just progressively gets worse and worse. And classic alien fashion, not everyone survives.
Watching anyone's version of something I've already done, because I already had to deal with that on Blade Runner, and I think something else. There's always trepidation, but I'd seen 3 of his films prior to that, so I thought Alien needed a really fresh view, and what I liked was the fact that he cast such young people, so that was a really valuable asset to what he was doing and what I knew he could do, so I was kind of excited.
The Alien franchise holds such a iconic space in cinematic history.
The whole idea behind this film was to really take it back to basics and make it a pure horror movie again.
This story slips right in between Alien and Aliens.
Rain and her brother Andy are the horror story.
Are we leaving?
Denied. Again.
I don't want to end up like our parents. Do you?
The ship's our way out of here.
Welcome to the Romulus space station.
There's a lot of secrets and things they don't know inside that ship that will cost them dearly.
Just like Ridley did with Alien 1, Fede made a point in not green screening it.
As a fan of the franchise, I knew it needed to be gritty and grounded. So we built every creature for real.
This film brings all of the things that we love from this franchise, so you know it's going to be properly scary.
If you don't stay quiet, we will die.
so great about what Sigourney did.
This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo.
It was incredible. It holds such an iconic space in cinematic history.
Rain, are you sure about this?
Only one way to find out.
I've been such a fan of the Alien franchise.
And action!
The first photo that went up at the board was Cailee's. It's been amazing to see her becoming the character.
She's fighting for her life.
Cailee is freaking built for playing Rain.
Cailee does it so well, being fearful. But then, when the time comes, she steps up.
Stay behind me!
She's really one of the best actors out there.
I think it brings all of the things that we love from this franchise. It's going to be properly scary.